Hey guys, it's Mark Cantor from South Florida Intervention. A couple weeks ago, I got a call from a family that is dealing with a son with binge eating disorder. And it was a unique call for me because most of the calls I get are for substance abuse, such as alcohol and drugs, pills, that kind of thing. Some gaming disorder, but binge eating disorder is a big one. And it's getting more and more prevalent among people and men than it had been in the past. A lot of eating disorders are more focused, or treatment for eating disorders are more focused on restricting and purging. But this is a particular interest to me because I am a recovering binge eater, a recovering food addict. When I got to treatment in 2004, I was about 100 pounds more than I am now. And when I look back, binge eating and addictive eating, being a food addict, had been a huge part of my story my entire life. Way before I discovered alcohol, way before I discovered drugs. And it kind of, I always joke and say that I come from instead of coming from an alcoholic family, I come from a fat family. Because everything is about food, everything's about food. And food is a common struggle in my family. My sister's a diabetic, so that kind of increased the focus on food when we were little kids. So I want to tell two quick stories. In fact, I was sharing with a friend yesterday about this story. I was newly sober, and I was starting to address the food issues that I was having. And someone that I met in AA started taking me to OA meetings. And I started to get into the abstinence, eliminating sugar from my life. I was walking home from work every day, which was about 6 miles uphillish. I don't want to say it was up a mountain, but it was an uphill grade the entire way. And I started to lose weight. And I was with my daughter. She's, I guess, about 2.5 at the time. And we drive up to New York, and it's her and I in the car, and it's a rainy, cold day. My wife was traveling on business, and I'm depressed. Just a normal default for a guy early in recovery, depressed. And so I can't turn to drugs and alcohol because that's out of my life, and thank God it is. And thank God it is in those situations, but there's still food. So I go to a Dunkin' Donuts, and I get a big black coffee, and 3 donuts, 2 or 3 donuts, I don't remember. And I get back into the car, and my daughter's there, she's in the back seat, in the car seat. And I took her in with me, put her back, and we start driving. And I'm just like, every fiber of my being wants to go into those donuts and just eat my feelings. And I knew I couldn't do that. So I'm driving around, and I'm just the lump in the throat, the emotions are there. And I called this friend of mine that was taking me to the OA meetings, and I did something she said that some of her sponsees do. She said sometimes she can't answer the phone, but she says, call me and just turn it over. Leave me a long message. Tell me what's going on. Just turn it over to my voicemail. And I did that. And I take the donuts and I pull up to a dumpster in some parking lot on Long Island. It's cold, it's rainy, and I throw the donuts in the dumpster. And I get back in the car, and I just start to cry. The tears are there. And I knew it was a pivotal moment. It wasn't the last time that I ate sugar. I would in fact go back and forth on sugar for many years and struggle with it for many years until 2014, when I finally, hopefully, put down the sugar and the soda and some of the, other addictive stuff forever, the foods. But I knew it was a pivotal moment. I knew that I either am going to eat the donuts and release the animal, which means then I'm driving to the next Dunkin' Donuts and the animal's out of the cage and it all starts over again, or I'm going to not do it. I'm going to overpower it. I'm going to pray. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to throw the donuts out, and I'm gonna grow stronger for that. But like I said, that wouldn't be the last time I would struggle with binge eating disorder, with being an addict. When I was in treatment, they sent me to see a nutritionist, and there I was. I'm I mean, I'm barely a week sober. I don't even want to use the word sober. I haven't had my drug in a week. I'm detoxing at best, right? And they send me to see this nutritionist on campus who's this young, fairly attractive woman. Looks to me like she has her whole life together, very good shape, and she weighs me, and we talk about food, and I'm honest with her. I have nothing to lose. I'm really honest with her about it. And she said, I want you to do this. I want you to, for this week, until we see each other next week, she gave me a workbook. She said, I want you to write down every single thing you eat every day, and I don't care what it is. Don't try to eliminate anything. Don't make any special efforts. I just want to see what it is you're eating. I want to see the real you. So I actually take the workbook and I do the work in the workbook, and I'm recording what I'm eating every day. And I'm maybe making a little bit of a conscious effort not to dive into some of the care packages some of the guys were getting sent on the hall. But I'm not restricting either. I'm not dieting. Nor do I really know what that is at that point. And I get back to her office a week later, and she says, all right, well, let's weigh you. And I'm feeling a little bit better about myself, but don't forget, now I'm like 2 weeks detoxed, and maybe I've had some, a little time to be restored. And I sit down at a round table in her office, and she weighs me. We sit down, and I said, so what's the verdict? And she says 286 pounds, which was up like 4 pounds from the week before. And I just sat there, and I just like fell forward on the table, and and I cried. I mean, that I was just so powerless over food. And I don't want to give the whole story away because I think it is an interesting story. I think there's a lot to it. I think there's actually a good hour or 2 hours of conversation that can come from my food recovery story. But it's a struggle. People ask me. A friend of mine just asked me in the gym right now, how many years do I have sober? And I said, God willing, it'll be 16 years this fall. And he said, that's a long time. And I said, well, it's a good start because you never know, and you always have to stay vigilant. But I walk past a liquor store or a pharmacy. I really don't care. I got to be honest with you, don't care. I walk past the Entenmann section in the supermarket or go into that far left section, that bakery section over at Whole Foods. And man, I have the same feelings that everybody describes when they walk into a bar. They talk about the shimmering lights, the glass, the ambiance. That is all there for me. I'm not afraid of picking up a drink. Though vigilant, I am not afraid of going out and getting a prescription. Where I'm afraid is my eating. For me. If you're an alcoholic, I am an alcoholic. I am a recovering addict. We don't drink. We don't use, no matter what, right? If you're an alcoholic or an addict, you should fear alcohol and drugs. But for me, I have that third component, which is food, and that's the closest to home for me. That's the one that I think could get me if I'm not vigilant. So I don't want to talk about diet because it's really not about diet, because food, sugar, let's call it sugar, like pornography, like shopping, like gambling, like screen, it's just another fucking drug. That's all it is. It's another drug. And I think it's huge, and I think it's underdiagnosed. And if you look around, I can't speak for other countries. I know that there are fat people everywhere. But I live here in the United States, so I want to talk about what I know. The binge eating disorder and binging is really prevalent here, And I think it is a drug that is used in the open. It's definitely a drug that people say just have one won't hurt you, and it's true. It's like a glass of wine. Is a glass of wine going to hurt me? No, but it's not what we're talking about. We're talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 glasses of wine. And we're not talking about a small sliver of birthday cake. We're talking about that triggering the allergy And then all of a sudden I'm going to Publix or Safeway or Whole Foods and I'm getting half a sheet cake and I'm eating that myself. Or I'm standing in the kitchen pretending to do the dishes, but really I'm eating the ice cream out of the container till there's no more. And it doesn't end there. If it just ended there, that'd be one thing maybe, but it goes on for days. My cheat days last a week and a half. So there can't be cheat days. Anyway, this is going on longer than I wanted to, but it's an extremely important subject, binge eating disorder, getting help for it. It is a drug, it is a disease. Don't make it out to be anything less than it is. It's something that needs to be taken seriously. It is a subject I feel very strongly about, and I love talking about, and I love talking about it with people, because to tell you the truth, the more I talk about it with you, the stronger I get. And that's kind of how the 12 steps work, right? When I help you, I benefit. And that's it. So I had a great workout. It's the end of the weekend. I'll put this on YouTube tomorrow. And I hope everybody has a great week. And thanks for listening to me. And I hope to see you back real soon. Follow me on YouTube and on social media is Help for Addiction, at Help for Addiction. And our website is southfloridaintervention.com. Thanks, guys. Take care. Have a good weekend.